Hello everyone, I'm Extra Cheesy 87 and this is Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Part 29. In the previous video we finished up the final investigation of the game and now we're about to begin the final trial. But there's no defendant here. I've been trying to reach Alana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma for that matter? It almost seems as if we've been ghosted. Something's been happening behind the scenes. Oh, hello, Edgy Boy. Edgeworth! Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Yeah, totally. You're the owner of the 7777 billion ID number that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. I mean, technically it's like not really legal proof and probably wouldn't like hold up in a real court of law, but maybe it'll be good enough here. Looks like I'm the only one, not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday, because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from the list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, right, and Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. But she didn't do it! We don't really care about that here. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth, put her on the stand, is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, Wright? Yes, right, we will be seeing each other in court. I don't know why you always add right to the end of your sentences. It's kind of weird, Edgy. If I'm never going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Court number 9. Wow, man, we're really moving up the ranks. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is supremely ready, Your Honor. Prosecution, it doesn't like work as well when he doesn't go first. The joke makes more sense when we're trying to one-up Edgeworth. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant. Hello, buddy boy. Aha! Morning, folks! How's everyone doing? Hey, Uchi, been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my own work. And microwavable pizzas. That's good. Don't think I can top that. You don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is your proposal? I kill you all! Then he, pulls out a gun and shoots us. Lana, that is to say the defendant has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. Is she gonna, admit complete and total guilt or something? In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. Because, I'm guessing he, got Emma, kidnapped her, and then is holding her, ransom in order for Lana to take the complete fall here. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. Lana! Objection! Yeah, we object. You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. You can't fire me. But Lana? No, seriously, you literally can't fire me. Where you're well, I guess we're not your court-appointed lawyer. I know there's some, well, I don't know if it's like that in Japan, this is what it's based on, but You know, in America, there can sometimes be situations where clients actually want to fire their court-appointed lawyers, and like they legally can't unless they can prove that the lawyer is out to harm them. Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. Prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. The court finds the defendant. Like, you've already done this joke like too many times, where they give out either he's about to give out the verdict, or there was that one time he actually did say that we were guilty, and then, you know, some extra stuff happened. One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Since when have we cared about reasonable doubt? Any ruling on this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy? I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, Oh, he's doing the finger wag. I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes? Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you thought you would have me. Phrase that so awkwardly. With this sudden concession from the defendant, it's obvious to me that some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal? Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Emma, eh? Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to conduct... I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of the truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Man, look at Edgeworth getting all philosophical on us. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. So, Emma, where you been, girlie? Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. Little sister is not an occupation. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. Well, that past trauma's getting drug up right now, lady. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Have you ever seen one of our trials before? They literally all involve, like, ancient, arcane secrets from 10 years ago. If anything, this is an abnormality because it's only 2 years old. Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. He sure gave it fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesterday. See, even Phoenix knows that this always happens. It's bound to lead to the truth beyond this trial. We just have to, like, you know, take our arms and, like, reach out for it or something like that, maybe. I was waiting at my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. Never forget, eh? The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. A good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. Define soon. Gotta admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Man, he's taking a play out the Phoenix Wright book. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. Okay. Now, we'll return and press the first two statements, or the first three. But I want to do this one first. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on dark. Just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of the year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. It was pitch dark in that room. You shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? I don't know why you're referring to me, Your Honor. Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yeah, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. Keep on talking, lady. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw. Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. Ah, a picture. Okay, so she's the one who drew that. Well, Mr. Wright, have you not asked about the picture? Now, I mean, this isn't really like a contradiction or anything. Like, I don't really know what showing this picture proves, but this picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning. Thematically, of course. Let's do literary analysis. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. Okay, there we go. There's the contradiction. Get blasted. An early blasting, the likes of which has never been seen before. This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence? Hey, Emma, I know you're like on the stand, but next time can you like put the boombox next to you so you can press play for me when we dramatically point our finger like that? Because it kind of like, you know, I kind of had to pause and turn it on myself, and I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for this case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may very well be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over. Ah! Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. Indeed. Two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Edgeworth, I tried to show it to you and you said you wouldn't talk about the case with us over tea because we're not friends. Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. Really, Edgeworth, you never noticed that? So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. Some might even call it elementary. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in this case ever reached you. What? I mean, that kind of like, exonerates Edgeworth a little bit, right? Order! Order! But Miss Skye, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. This list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor, So was Detective Goodman involved in the cover-up as well? Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. The evidence list was torn in half. There might be more of that drawing in the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Okay. That's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible, but as you can see, when I held it up, the backside was completely blank. Edgeworth, buddy, pal, guy, friend, dude, bro. You never thought to look on the other side? Also, let's not even get into the fact that, it would have bled through the thin piece of paper. You would have definitely noticed if there was a black drawing on the back. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? I'm not incompetent, you're incompetent! Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's, that thing! Oh, it's playing the blue hedgehog. Sick. I've been wondering about the blue hedgehog. We still haven't really talked about the handprint on there. I mean, you know, the ear's broken and there's the big handprint and the smudge and the other messed up part there. That thing! That thing was the dancing in the evidence room! Clearly this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Evidence list restored and updated in the court record. Very well. Witness! Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? Seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright I could see all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Exactly? Oh, you consider yourself a good enough artist to capture the exact moment of humanity? I don't buy it, lady. I think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. But, like, did she, though? This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Okay, so we don't see an obvious line here, so we'll press by press. Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gantz and Lana Skye. 2 or 3 days later, memory should still have been fresh in her mind. Excuse me, witness! But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black? Well, there was only the one black pencil I was given. The flash of lightning was so bright all I could see were shadows. So at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor? Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Whoa, look at Edgeworth being understanding. Do you really need to torture this girl any further? What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. Anyway, this picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. So, I mean, you didn't know, like, you don't know who the two individuals are, right? Like, are they gonna try and flip it so that it's, I've been kind of expecting this since they showed us the picture, that it was actually, you know, Marshall about to stab Dark, but I don't know. Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure what you drew, exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene. It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives. Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? Yes. No, of course not. I'd better watch out, or he might find some way to cut my salary. I mean, technically Edgeworth is the one paying the bills, because I think he's the only guy who's actually given us money for our casework. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, but I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Well... That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind, and yet, there's clearly a contradiction here. Contradiction. Now, we don't actually have the... Well, we have the photo here. I mean, he's not really... I mean, is it the fact that it's not a knife? I don't really know what they're going for, or like the weapon that's being held. Like, I don't know what they would want from me. Hey, you didn't see the actual murder take place. Okay, it shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Let's do this one more time. Are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course. I mean, we'll try. There's clearly a contradiction. We'll try it. Okay, nope. I mean, maybe the knife? Maybe present the knife? Because... Oh, is it because it's like, it's broken off in the drawing? No? Okay, let's stop and think. I felt like that was it, but... Oh! Is it the halberd? No, that... Well, I mean, he would have had the trophy with him, right? God, I can't remember what the halberd looked like. Not a screwdriver, I don't think. But, like, I don't really know. I'm gonna try this just out of curiosity. Let's just repress everything again. Maybe that's what we're supposed to do. It wasn't influenced. There's clearly a contradiction. Two or 3 days later, the memory should have been fresh in her mind. So at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue. No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor. Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. So I'm looking at this picture again. You can see that he's kind of like gripping where like the leather would have been. Like, did that maybe get like ripped off? But then again, that has Emma's prints. You know, it's got Emma's prints. I don't really know what they want. Like, I feel like I should be able to, like, press for more information or something in the, like, after he says, like, is there something important about this photo or this picture? I'm glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? I must have fainted. So you mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. Flash of lightning drove off the darkness for a split second. I'm not the bad guy here. Anyway, this picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure what you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene. Wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives. Are you somehow insinuating we manipulated her? No, of course not. Before I heard anything from the detectives. So I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. And yet, there is a clear contradiction. I mean, my mind just keeps being drawn to the weapon that he's holding being kind of weird looking. Like the fact that it's a completely, you know, it's a rectangle, not like in a knife shape. Now let's do... I want to do this one last time. So at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue. No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor. Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him... So he had a tight grip on her. Marshall attacks Dark. He's knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. I mean, there's nothing really there. I mean, she didn't draw any windows? Is that the contradiction? I mean, it better not be something stupid like that. Okay, it's not. Thank you. I mean, I don't know. I feel like this has just gotten, like, really obtuse all of a sudden. Like, the 5th trial. I mean, I don't know. We'll try the screwdriver, but we're just kind of accepting defeat here. Because, I mean, I don't know what they want from me. Like, not in the slightest. We tried to press everything. There's no avenues for extra stuff. I mean, like... And there's the piece of cloth, but I don't really know how that relates to anything. Like, maybe if we go back to I must have fainted piece of cloth? Like, you know, how could you, if you fainted, why is your prints all over the murder scene? But I feel like the last couple trials have been a little eh. Or like the last, I mean, like overall, I still really like Chapter 5, but I feel like we're getting more and more prompts that are just kind of like, they're not giving you anything to go off of. But we'll be right back. All is forgiven. All is forgiven. I completely forgot about the autopsy report. I thought this was the Goodman autopsy report when I was scrolling through the evidence. So, yeah, stabbed in the back. That's when I kind of, like, they were giving us such little to go on that I was like, it has to be on me, right? And, yeah, that's just a consequence of having played the trial over, like, a couple weeks instead of, you know, like all in like 1 or 2 sessions, like kind of how most people probably play the game, but, or, you know, a few sessions because this one's really long, but yeah, that's just, that's on me. I do wish the trial was better about getting rid of, like, old evidence, because, like, they do that at one point in Chapter 4 where they get rid of kind of evidence that you don't actually have to use anymore, and I wish they did that more often, because it's so cluttered. Like, there's just so much shit in here, and, like, most of it, like, we just don't use anymore, right? Like, are we ever going to use Lana's cell phone again? No. So, it doesn't really need to be in there, but, yeah. I guess I just kind of, for some reason, while scrolling through, was thinking that Goodman's and Neil's were the same. Honestly, I didn't even know we had Neil's autopsy report, but, yeah. I need to be, and also, I mean, I feel like I was kind of focusing on the idea that she says, I don't, like, it was, all I could see were shadows. Well, if all you could see were shadows and you didn't know it was Marshall that was there to rescue you, how do you know who was the one about to stab the other? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright? Perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. Okay, never mind. All is not forgiven? I don't... I mean, I know the contradiction, but... I mean, he's about to stab him forward? I don't feel like that's probably not what they want, though, but... Oh. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. Obviously, it's not a knife! If you look closer, you can see its tip is broken. Even I don't have to look closer to see that, Mr. Wright. But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. But remember, how did it break him? Think. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved that Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. The victim is only stabbed once. Then the murder weapon should be not yet broken! Ah! What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right, but, what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness' memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already about a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, Mr. Wright. All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. Oh. Ah! Order! Order! Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me once again to go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office are holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. That's true. And there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. Oh, a broken knife? What about a broken halberd? Because that was another angle I was going for as I was trying to use the picture on stuff. Or like I was thinking about using the picture on stuff. I think I did try and use it at least once on the... Well, no, I used the actual award. I don't think I used the actual picture on our failed evidence gathering expeditions. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's? Could there have been one? There is another one. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by simple observational error. Mr. Wright, don't you know the witness testimony is notoriously unreliable? In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume, then, that you have some information about this other broken knife? Now, the question here is, do they want us to present the award or the picture? I think the award? The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way! No! Okay, I thought I accidentally presented my attorney's badge! Anything's broken here. It's you! Huh? I'm sure this must be all very amusing to you, Mr. Wright. What am I... What? Dude, fuck you! I'm so mad. It's updated to say the halberd was removed. It's updated to say the halberd was removed. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. Ah! What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding? That's a broken knife! As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was all in likelihood from this award! Emma, you were supposed to play the other song. The other song, Emma! Damn it! Oh, when are we getting Maya back? Order! Order! Neil Marshall was awarded the King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. It's a halberd, Mr. Wright. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be! Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors award knife was the murder weapon, then the murder and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean... This man raising a knife would have had to have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Oh! But the prosecutor is the one who actually died, or did he? That's true. What's going on here? Huh. It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. It's a jump to conclusions, Matt, Your Honor. Emma? Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? I know I was lying earlier, but now you really have to take my word for it. I promise. I'm being super duper serially serious right now. Mr. Edgeworth? What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? Is that what the kids are calling it these days? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back? I knew it. This picture... I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness testimony, like maybe he grabbed that vase and smashed him as he was about to stab him or something? I mean, it doesn't really look like the vase, but, I mean, very slightly, like from above or something. Well, I mean, it doesn't really have the extra spoke. I don't really know what that's supposed to be. Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. Yeah, it's gonna make me have an aneurysm. I mean, really, the only thing that's annoying so far is it not being this, it's the picture. It's like, not a huge deal, but I feel like both are equally valid, and it should have just counted either or as the answer. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. Oh, I think I knocked away the man with the knife. So that's how she got her fingerprints on him. And that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw a shadow. This is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That's what I was kind of wondering about. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Stop! Please, don't pursue this any further. Where the hell did you come from? I like to imagine she just ran up and just fucking stiff-armed Emma off the witness stand. Lana, what's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Sky. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. Seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Alrighty. Hold it. When you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark? Yes, at least I think it was him. You think? All I could see were shadows. I tried to point out that contradiction earlier and the game made fun of me. I'm mad. Power outage that immediately preceded the incident is also documented in the prosecutor's office reports. So then you... Why would you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. He seemed convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife. But as we've just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. When that Dark guy knocked me down, all I could think of was, I've got to help that other person. What do you mean, think? I mean, it all happened so fast, and I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. What I did, it's kind of a blur. This guy was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place. So much happening in a matter of seconds, little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with a knife. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then, what happened next? Are you sure about this? Of course, see, I even drew a picture of him here. But it was the chief of detectives who thought of this hideous beast. And that was just this year. Blue Badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. I I know it sounds strange, but I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him somewhere before. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother, just when you thought that things had caused enough commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? His shadow? You mean you didn't actually see his face with his winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember. It had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have existed 2 years ago, or could it? The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, and I suppose you have an explanation? What was it? Who was this blue badger? I know. Yet she's still certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. So if she just saw like the statue, I guess that could cause the distortion with the third horn. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright. In this room. Very well, Mr. Wright. Okay, when you say in this room, I don't know what you mean, but I mean, it's in our back pocket. The mysterious blue badger was in fact this! But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. And used to contain evil spirits. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if you were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this from. Okay. Please, rotate. No. It's definitely wants down. I mean, not really in the slightest. Is there like another way to do this? I mean, not really. And if you did it like... I think we had it right. It's just kind of like doesn't really look like what they think what it's supposed to look like. Right, is this it? Really? This seems so wrong. I mean, you can definitely see the balls a little bit easier. Try this angle first. This isn't right. Okay. Allow me to remind the defense that this case hinges on the witness's drawing. Okay, shut up. Rotate it vertically a bit more or horizontally. I mean, I think I had it right and then I switched it. But I mean, they're kind of like pointing down. This is the exact angle I just had him at, I think. Yeah, I think we want it more like this, right? And now the question is, like, how finicky is it? What? Okay, this is kind of dumb. I mean, you can see the balls, definitely. We already tried this angle. It's just the top one, like, doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't really know what they want. Because I don't really know how you get the top part to work properly. I mean, that doesn't look like it in the slightest. I I mean, this looks the most like it. Well, actually, I think this looks the most like it. I mean, I don't know if they're penalizing me or not. It doesn't seem like they actually are. I mean, that still doesn't really look like it at all. And if you do it like this, that doesn't really look like anything. I mean, like, the top spike looks kind of right. We already tried this. I'll try it one more time. Because maybe we didn't exactly have it completely right. Okay, so I mean, they're not penalizing us, so I feel like they know that this shit is finicky as hell. And it's not obvious. We already tried this angle. Even though it's the one that looks the most like it. Means that is not the case. That's not what you want. Okay, this is like kind of losing my mind. We're gonna pause until I figure this shit out. Oh, fuck you! I don't even know how it's right. I've been doing this for like literally 20 goddamn minutes. I've done like every single conceivable combination at random, and apparently that's it. Now, how that looks like it, I don't fucking know, but whatever, dude. No one can deny? You're about to have to make me deny installing this piece of shit game. I'm really not. I mean, I'm mad, obviously. I mean, I think that's absolutely fucking ridiculous. I mean, I think I put in that exact shape like 8 times. Just see it like just kind of at random, but it wasn't in the exact pixel perfect fucking position. But I mean, I'm not like, I'm mad about it, but it's kind of like whatever. I mean, I feel like the designers actually like knew this puzzle was bad based on the fact that you're not penalized for getting it wrong. But they were like, we want to have a shape manipulation puzzle in here. Fuck it, just put it in, even if it's not very good. So I'm not like angry about it, or I'm not that angry about it, even though, I mean, that's just really, really bad. The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. When is lunch? Seriously, this trial's been going on forever. What's your point? I mean, we've been sitting here watching Phoenix tell us this time for reals. This is the blue badger for literally 100 times. What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar? Okay, well, like, also, the bigger question here is, alright, let's look at the jar. Why in the fuck was it, why was it in this random, what even was it? It was like this? Why is it even, I mean, you can't actually do the other rotate here, but you can't rotate it clockwise, but like, why would it have even been, I guess, oh yeah, I can kind of see it, because it has that maybe like stand there on the side, since it's maybe not actually a jar. I don't really know what it's supposed to be, but still kind of dumb. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Very well then. Please, tell us. What's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? The location? The murder weapon? The murderer? Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. With a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in the picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office. But I mean, it's just one room. The room's not that big. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Ah, you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? Shut up. Quit making fun of me, damn it. I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. The next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now then, tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have had to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. The man was knocked in the direction of the shelf that the jar was sitting on. What would he have hit? A suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Wait, what? What are you talking about? That's so stupid. Okay. That's dumb. That's so dumb. Okay, so she killed Marshall by knocking him into the suit, maybe? I doubt that's what they're going. I don't know. Cause like that would mean Emma is like inadvertently guilty of something, and I don't think this is gonna end with her being in prison. So yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Hey Lana, I'm sorry about I'm getting you off for murder, but your sister's in jail for the rest of her life. Sorry. Of course the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall. You know what? It's actually Damon's fault for having a fucking suit of armor with a spear in his office. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. Instant death via shock. Phoenix Wright, you're a murderer! So it was the witness who took the victim's life. And then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented! What are you saying? Sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try and pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body. To keep anyone else from finding out what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. Do you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations? I'm afraid you're going to have some proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? That's a good place to stop. We'll see if Edgy Boy can produce some proof. Because I mean, granted, I'm relatively confident they're not gonna like send Emma to prison at the end of the trial. But if that was the potential decision, was to send Emma or Lana, Lana's going to the fucking clink. Like instant. It's on site, man. But we'll see how this all plays out in the next few videos as we wrap up the game. I'm Extra Cheesy 87. Stay tuned for the next part. And bye, guys.